Good morning, everybody. This is Jill Rother of the Phoenix team at Keller Williams. This is Coach Collard, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about the emotional issues that a lot of home sellers tend to deal with when they're trying to make the decision on whether they're going to have to short sale their home or sell it for less than what the value is and go get bank approval. So I just wanted Coach here to kind of talk a little bit about what his perspective is, and hopefully it'll give you a new light, if you will, or a new perspective as to that things aren't really as bad as it seem, and maybe make you a little bit more comfortable if you have to go down that route.
Yeah.
So Coach, what do you think?
Well, one of the things I like to share with everybody is a little bit about my background so they can understand why I'm saying what I'm about to say. So
Yes.
I used to be a Spanish pastor for about 4 years. So, my context of everything comes from the scriptures. So really what it comes down to is we've, many times many of us have a pride issue that's hard
Yes.
to deal with. And I don't mean that negatively as a pride issue. It's just we simply have an identity in ourselves that goes along with a house.
Okay.
And it's hard
Absolutely.
to deal with a financial circumstance that puts us in a place where it's hard to pay the mortgage. So at that point, I kind of go to the scriptures and I say, well, can I detach myself from the property and can I make a stewardship decision?
Yes.
And it's one of the things that a lot of people have difficulty doing because their identity is attached to the house.
To the house,
versus
absolutely.
their identity being attached to, I've got an opportunity for a stewardship decision. So once you can make that separation, then you can really make some decent decisions and make some better decisions. So I'm just going to kind of go through a list of things that people run into. First and foremost, the question that all banks and most realtors and individuals working on short sales ask people is, do you want to stay in your home?
Right.
Well, let me just kill that really fast.
Right.
Who doesn't want to stay in their home?
Right.
Can I just be really clear? Who doesn't freaking want to stay in their home?
Of course you want to stay in your home.
Dumb question, right?
Right.
Like, does anybody want to just leave unless they're ready to sell? Okay, so let's get past
Right.
that. I think it sets the wrong context
Right.
because people then go, oh, well, yeah. And it sets a hope and an expectation
Right.
that's counterproductive to a solution
Right.
of loss mitigation, of stewardship, getting out of a financial position that's too much for us and that type
Because somebody they are could be on the road to foreclosure, which means it inevitable is going to happen that you either going to get that knock at the door and you're going to have to leave your home.
Absolutely.
Versus
Absolutely.
being able to be proactive and doing something, working with the banks in order to avoid that.
And that's precisely why, in all my experience with you for the last 2.5, 3 years, the experience of you is exactly what you've done. You've prepared yourself to help people in that situation so that they don't get to the last minute and suddenly
Right.
have to fly out of their house.
Right.
I mean, we've heard the stories, but that question of do you want to stay in your home sets people up to where that becomes realistic.
That
And then
there's a chance.
Yeah, and then it just comes and clips them out. So
Right.
if we could prepare people from an emotional standpoint up front, which is what you do, Jill, and it's something I really, really like the way you operate, is you discuss that with them up front and you say, hey, in all of this conversation here, we've got to think of at least the possibility
Right.
that you may be leaving your home.
Correct.
And in that, what solutions are in that direction?
Correct.
What are some things you've got to prepare for? Where are you going to move in the future? What are some issues around maybe children and schools and stuff
Right.
like that? So
Very important.
it's really bringing the whole package together, because what I'm going to say to you guys and most of the homeowners that see this out there is distressed properties, which is 70% of the market in Phoenix right now in Maricopa County, is an emotional situation.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with real estate, guys. It's got to do with your emotions. And what you need is somebody like Jill who's been through it and understands it with her clients and can talk that game and help you create solutions around that emotional place that's difficult to take action in.
Right.
And the lack of action is what gets most people in trouble.
A lot of the things that we've always had when I've talked to some of my past clients is a lot of them talked about where they just had a major pride issue, that they had to grieve over their home,
Right.
and then finally realize that there just has to be a logical decision or something that they have to make, otherwise they are facing the inevitable. And also they get a lot of peer pressure, Coach.
Yeah,
That's
so true.
issue.
The neighbors, family, and people say, oh, that's happened to you. Or, a lot of times a homeowner thinks that they're going to let their neighbors down
Right.
by going through a short sale. And I'm like, well, let's evaluate the options. Are you paying your mortgage right now? No, I'm not. Okay,
Right.
so you're heading towards foreclosure. Well, are you aware that short sale's more responsible and that the bank's going to lose 28 to 36% more at foreclosure than they would through short sale? And they suddenly go, oh, so my neighbors will like me if I short sale.
Right,
I'm like,
so-
well, they'll like you more than if you foreclose,
Right.
for
So,
sure.
Coach, those numbers were 25 to 30%,
28 to 36%.
28 to 36% 95%, the banks make less on those homes if those houses go to foreclosure.
Right.
And not to mean how bad probably the landscaping looks.
Oh.
The interior maintenance of the home is not being maintained, and if there's a pool.
Yeah. Well, and there's all sorts of HOA issues and things that don't get handled through foreclosure. They at least have a shot to get remedied through short sale. So
right. Absolutely.
At so many levels, you guys want to talk to Jill, because a short sale is like 98% of the time the best option for almost everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and that's one of the big things is we want to let everybody know is that, it's okay that you're going through this, is that everybody does come up on some financial hard times, but you have to, I always tell people, look, that ghost is still going to be in the closet, Coach. I mean, when you open the door, he's still going to be there.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you don't want that to be where it's way too late. And then, and I understand people holding on for every last straw that they can with loan modifications, that honestly, that they pretty much, they're failures. They don't work.
Right. Well, it's because it's big government putting programs into play, and we already know that big government's not for profit.
Right.
So they can't do anything productive.
Right.
That was a shot, by the way. For those that don't know me.
So we just want to wrap it up and just tell everybody, it's okay that you're in the position that you're in, and that we're here to help you. But just know that there's so many other people that are going through, and you don't have to be embarrassed.
You really don't. You really don't. You look at the statistics out there and identify what was common 5 years ago.
Right.
5 years ago, just to use an example, a company like Washington Mutual had less than 1% of their portfolio delinquent.
Right.
In today's world, they're not even in business.
Right.
But that standard bank that had a track record that good has between 15 and 25% of their portfolios delinquent. So we're not saying it justifies being delinquent or anything like that. We just have no energy on it. We're here to help.
Right.
And Jill's positioned herself with a lot of strategies, a lot of coaching, a lot of time invested, and a lot of relationships that have proven that she can really help you guys. So make a decision to work with somebody that understands what you're dealing with, and now y'all can play together and create a great solution.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's some of the best advice we can have. Well, we're going to wrap it up, Coach, but thanks for coming in to contribute a little bit. I think this is going to help a lot of our homeowners.
Always glad to participate.
All right, you guys, have a good one. See you tomorrow.
See ya.